Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you two of my games. One of them is a miniature and another one is a more kind of longer game. I'll start with the shorter one. So in this game I kicked off with e4 as white. My opponent played the French defense. Idea is to not immediately get the center, but to patiently get it. The next move with d5 can be seen after knight f3 and d5. As you can see, black has a fair share of the center as white. I got the two knights attack here for white, and she played d takes e and knight takes e. We followed some theory after d4, knight f6, and I captured. By the way, one thing to note is that this exact same position could happen after e4, e6, d4, which is a more common move for white, d5, knight c3, d takes e, knight takes e, knight d7, knight f3, and knight f6. Back to the main line in the game, I chose the two knights attack, and then here we see this variation. I took the knight, she took back, and then I developed my bishop. You see this bishop is attacking that square. Later on, when black gets his king castled, this bishop on d3 would be very useful for attacking on the king side. My opponent tried to do something similar, or at least try and castle. In my opinion, personally, and in practice, I think the bishop's more better suited on e7 because this pin here isn't as effective. In the game, bishop d6 was played, and I went bishop g5 with a pin. Knight can't move because the queen will be lost. I played knight. She went castles. I went knight e5 and c5. Watch out, guys, if I take the pawn like this. Looks like a free pawn, but if you calculate one move ahead, I actually lose a knight. And obviously, I don't want to lose a knight for no reason. The game, I played this interesting novelty, castles kingside, completely giving up the pawn. Most people would probably play the c3 move, but then my position isn't comfortable after pawn takes, bishop takes e5. I have to take, and then queen a5 check, where my king and pawn are both hanging. For example, after, let's say queen d2, queen takes e5 check, bishop to e3. Black has more than equalized in his position. He's a pawn up, and he's better, even though white has a bishop pair. So let's go back. I was feeling very uncomfortable in that position, so that's why I played castles, completely giving up the pawn. Obviously my opponent took, because there's nothing that much better, and now my knight's hanging, so I strengthened it with f4, protecting the knight. My queen wants to swing over to h3, where it will attack h7 and the king, and there's still this pin. My opponent played bishop e7. Problem with what they've done is, bishop was on f8 in the start, it went to d6, now it's gone back to e7, and it could have done that in just one move. I continued rook f3 with rook h3 ideas, and then my opponent went g6 to block this bishop. By the way, a puzzle for you. Let's just say black played this random move. What was my idea behind this rook f3 move? Pause the video, you have as much time as you can. Pause the video right now to find the best move. Are you guys ready? If you found this, then congratulations. The move is bishop takes f6. After bishop takes f6, the move you really had to find here was this move. It's called the Greek gift sacrifice, where black can either take or he can move his king. If he moves his king, then firstly he's lost a pawn. Secondly, after rook h3 and white can put his queen on h5, black's king is just going to be killed really quickly. So after king takes h7, we see rook h3 check, and one thing, the king can't run away because his knight does a good job of protecting that square. King to g8. One thing, if bishop h4, where the queen supports the bishop, white would do this, check, and then after rook takes, one of these checkmates are coming, black's best alternative is to take the rook, and white emerges a queen for rook up. And he still has a big attack with rook f3 coming. Sorry about that. So bishop h4 just doesn't work. It fails. King g8. I play queen h5 with a mating threat here on one of these two squares. If, for example, rook e8, I give this checkmate. If bishop h4, then I take, and the best alternative is to give the queen, and I'm just completely winning. The exact same kind of position as the other one. And if g6, then there's checkmate on h7. So that was my plan. She did a good job playing in this position, g6. Basically, if I take and g takes back, I play rook h. I can't play bishop h7. That's the idea of g6. And here I went queen e1. Really interesting move. I want to put my queen on h4, and I want to put my rook on h3 and put pressure on that pawn. Also, one thing is my queen supports that knight even more, so it's overprotected. Knight h5. In my opinion, knight d5 is a better try, but let's look at the game. Knight h5. Offering an exchange of bishops. I played queen h4. I didn't take it because, I mean, why would I do that? The queen just gets improved. It's a better piece now, and black is so close to being equal now, and my attack is diffused. So after queen h4, she made a slight error, I think, but I don't think there was anything else to do. She went bishop g5, and I took the bishop. Now, as you can see, my pawn has some control over these crucial dark squares, and because black hasn't got a dark square bishop anymore, he can't kind of protect those squares. She went queen d5, attacking my knight, and guess what I did? I got my last piece in the game with rook e1. Let's compare both the sides' positions. Let's look at white. This king is much more safe than that king, especially because, firstly, this diagonal is closed as there's that pawn there. Secondly, all of black's pieces are just doing nothing. So my king is better than her king. Now let's look at how good my pieces are. So as you can see, my knight's in the center. It's wonderful. Sorry. My bishop's on this diagonal. My rook protects my knight. At least it's doing something. And this rook is ready to swing over. And I want to play g4, chasing the knight and checkmate. So that's my plan. What's her pieces like? What's that knight doing there? It's like one of the worst pieces on the whole board. This rook, it can't move. It's only got one square. The reason why is because you see this bishop is blocked in by that pawn. It can't do anything. Therefore, that rook is useless as well. And this rook here is just going to be a passive piece protecting this pawn. If it moves away, for example, like that, this pawn is going to be taken. So after rook e1, you can come to the conclusion that even though white is down a whole pawn, he's still completely winning because he has a concrete way of playing rook h3 and then g4, firstly. Secondly, black's pieces are all useless. His only best piece is that centralized queen, and it doesn't do anything. She went really desperately and played queen takes a2. And then g4, in the game, queen a5 was played. But let's look at if black tries to save his knight. I would have just played rook h3, threatening mate, and h5. If rook d8, this wouldn't actually save the king, because let's turn on the engine, see what it says. It says queen takes h7, king f8, rook f3, and there's no defense to that pawn, and I understand why that's completely winning. I hope you guys do as well. Let's close this engine. Let's put our face down there. So now, if I go back, h5 is probably the best move for black. And now en passant capture, attacking the knight, also threatening to push forward. and some case even promote. Knight e8, h7, king h8, and queen h6. The rook is hanging. Knight g7 to block this line, and now bishop takes g6. By the way, this hilarious queen takes g6 is also winning. Idea is you can't take the queen because of knight checkmate. But even more simply winning is this, because it attacks on f7 twice. The queen d5, bishop f7, there's no easy way to stop this mate. Black has to give up the queen. So that's why let's go back and come to the conclusion that black moving his knight is a bad move. In the game, queen a5 was played. Once again, a desperate move, hoping that if I move my rook, the knight will be taken on e5. But I just took this knight. Easy move. Threatening, taking, and sorry, I can't draw arrows today. Taking and playing rook h3 on this h5 checkmate. Takes was played in the game, and now, as you can see, this diagonal suddenly opened up. The pawn moved away from this diagonal, and queen e4 just wins. My opponent in this position, unfortunately, resigned. Hope you enjoyed that game. Let's move on to the next game that I want to show you. So, in this game, I played back in December. I was playing as a 2200, and it was in a classical game. I kicked off with e4. Once again, this game is with white. Knight c6, the Nimzovich defense, and then it transposed in the end to just a normal king's pawn opening, where I can play the Roy Lepers, he can play the Italian. I chose to play the Italian, and after black can choose between these two moves. After bishop c5, because it was the first round, I thought I'm going to try and be creative, and I chose the Evans Gambit. It's one of the most fun gambits to play. If you're an attacking player, I recommend you try out this move. If you've already tried out this move, then keep on trying it. I've used the Evans Gambit with a lot of success, so I hope you guys should play it as well. My opponent took with bishop c3 with a tempo. Now you guys understand the move b4. Everything is with time for white, and now d4 is played. In the main Italian line, white plays c3 without b4. The difference here is after b4 and c3, the bishop's attacked, and then d4. Let's go back to the game. Castles, d6, opening up the bishop. I took the pawn, and as you can see, in my opinion, I have enough compensation for the pawn, because look at my beautiful center, bishop attacking here, ability to put my queen here and attack on f7, and my knight as well sometimes. And I just have an easy, quick development, and I can play rook e1, e5, blasting open the e file. So, bishop b6 was played. I like this move by black. It's to consolidate his piece. Now his bishop's overprotected by 2 pieces, and if you count the queen protecting it, then 3 pieces. Bishop b2 with a threat of d5, and bishop takes g7, which traps the rook. Bishop g4 with this pin, very annoying. I played d5, attacking this knight. And after knight e5, bishop check, forcing the king to move to f8, because after this c6 move, I actually have this move. Black can take either bishop, he's just losing. If he takes the b5 bishop, take on g7, and that rook is just going to be trapped in the corner. And if d takes e5, then d takes c6. With the threat of taking with a discovered check, and if black chooses to swap off queens, I actually have this move. C takes b7 with a check to the king. The king moves, takes, and here white's clearly emerged with an extra rook. That's why this whole c6 line is refuted by white very easily. He played king f8, he saw this whole thing, then I went knight d2, supported my knight. knight e7, just a normal, good developing move. I played queen b3, getting out of this pin. Finally, my knight's free to do some other kind of stuff, rather than being stuck. After bishop takes f3, he realized here that his bishop wasn't doing anything anymore, so he realized he should take it for my powerful knight. So knight takes f3, knight g6, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, and then queen g3. By the way, here my plan was to play king h1 and play f4, and then pawn from e4 to e5. And you see how weak his king is. It would be easy for me to attack. However, the problem is queen h4, very annoying move, and these two squares on f2 and h2 will come under attack very, very soon. So after here, I went queen g3 first to control that square, queen e7, now king h1, getting out of this pin, so that bishop isn't doing anything anymore. h5 and f4. He went knight g4, threat of queen takes e4, so I went rook a to e1, stopping knight e3. After rook h6, with these kind of ideas, I went h3, attacking the knight. Rook g6, really nice move, threatening knight f2 and winning the queen after. By the way, if I take this, then let's turn on the engine. 1 second. It says rook takes g4. After the queen moves somewhere, rook h4 just winning because the king can't move. White has to give up his queen. So that's why that's bad for white. In the game, I didn't take the knight. I moved queen f3, getting out of this line. After queen h4, f5, which turned out to be an error by me. He played rook g5. He missed a win. Let me swap the board here. Pause the video, see if you can find a win for black. If you found this, then congratulations. You're doing well. The move is knight f2 check. Obviously, I have to take the knight, because if I don't and I move my king, for example, to h3, then rook g3 is just winning for him. After queen takes knight g4, I end up losing the queen, because my king has to go away. And also, the knight can't be taken because of this pin. That's why, after knight f2 check, I have to take now this move, rook g3, attacking the queen and attacking this h3 square twice. I can go to f4 or to e2. If I go to e2, then takes, check. If g takes h3, then I lose my queen, and in this position, everything is hanging. It's just really easy to win for black. White has no counterplay. And if king to g1, then this is a checkmate. So let's go back. After after rook g3, I have to play queen f4 and now rook g4. Tricky move. I can't take because of that pin on the h file. Queen has to move again. Then here in this position, eventually when we make a few moves, black has a rook, white has a bishop, and all these pieces are swarming around that king like bees, like angry bees, and white's pieces are scattered everywhere. They can't do that much to attack that king. I would say black's just easily better. And you flip the board again and come back to the real game. One reason why he missed this and I missed this in the game is because we both had like 2 minutes on our clock. He went rook g5, rook e2. I realized during the game that he had this threat, and I stopped it. Knight e5, then I takes f6. By the way, queen a3 was a better move. But f6, g6, queen a3 check, king g8. And now I played the rather attractive move, queen e7. But, guys, I would like you to pause the video. Can you find this really funny looking move, which actually wins on the spot? The move is king h2. Idea of playing g3 and the queen would be trapped So black has to give up his rook for the pawn. For example, after rook g4, g3, queen g5 takes, white emerges with the extra rook. That's why if we go back into the game, king h2 is completely winning for me, but I missed it. I had less time once again. Queen e7 for obvious idea and play bishop e8, attacking this pawn and cutting off that rook on a8 over here from coming to f8 and defending it. He went rook f8, rook c2, which is a big error by me. He should have played queen takes e4, where he would be a pawn up, or actually 2 pawns up. I'll move my rook somewhere like d2, and black would just be better. In this position, he went rook g3, and I took this pawn. In this position, a miracle happened. By the way, in this position, the engines say that black is slightly better if I turn it on right now. Let me just check out. Oh no, it says white slightly better. All around equal, basically. But I would say I love white's position so much. I would play a move like queen f4 and push my pawn up to e6, and two pawns would be very annoying for black. In the game, he thought he found a really cool tactic, rook takes h3, but I give this 2 question marks. It's a big blunder because I would take the rook and queen takes. It looks like such a nice tactic because king can't move to protect the rook as bishop's carting this whole diagonal off. So and rook h2. In this position, he actually resigned because to his horror he realized that after rook h2 my rook is actually protected by the bishop, and after the queen moves somewhere I'll just be a rook up, and the game ends quickly after this kind of move. So after rook takes h3, g takes h3, he just resigned. Bye guys, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know any feedback or anything in the comment section below. Bye and see you in another video.